Our next speaker this morning is Mike Slattery. Mike has been in the property and casualty insurance business for the last 15 years. In that time, he's learned that the majority of the public does not understand what their auto insurance policy really does. This morning, Mike is going to create a situation, and after he gives the scenario, he's going to ask members of the audience to participate by asking questions. So listen up. These questions are pertinent in understanding what to do when the need for insurance coverage is necessary. Mike's speech is 6 to 8 minutes and is titled, "What do you know about your auto insurance?" Please welcome Mike Slattery.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, and good morning, fellow Toastmasters and most wanted guests. It's a beautiful fall Saturday morning. You're sitting around the breakfast table with your wife or most significant other, and you're looking at each other as you're eating breakfast and drinking coffee. The kitchen window is open and there's a soft breeze of about 65 degrees that's running through, and you can smell fall is in the air. So you look at your wife and you say, "Hey, what about if we go down to Ramona, get a bushel of apples and some apple cider?" She looks at him with loving eyes and says, "Gee, that sounds like a great idea. You drive, because I want to see the scenery." So they both change their clothes, hop in the car, and head for 215 South. They're stopped at the entrance to the freeway, a couple of cars in front of them. Bam! They're hit from behind by a big pickup truck. And they're hit so hard that they're knocked into the car in front of them, where they jump up on the trunk. My question is, what's the first thing you would do? Anybody? Simone?
What position am I in? The one that got hit? The one that hit?
No, you're the female. You're the significant other or the wife.
When I start yelling at my husband.
Okay.
And then I would get out of the car and make sure that the people who hit were fine.
Exactly. The first thing you want to do when you get involved in an accident, be it a fender bender or a major 4 or 5 car pileup, you want to make sure that if you have passengers, that they're all okay. And once they're okay, then you want to get out of the car and you want to make sure that the person that hit you or the person that you hit is all right also. That's the first thing you want to do. Now, what would be the second thing you would need to do after that? Everybody's okay. Nobody at this point, anyway, has decided they're going to sue yet. But what would be the next thing you would do? Anybody? Mark?
I would write down license plates.
You're close. Priscilla?
Would you look at the damage? Survey the damage?
The damage will be taken care of by your insurance company if you have it. Now, the second thing you want to do is you want to get on the telephone. And you want to call the police. Because what happens, and this is very, very important, you want to get the police there because you need the report. If you don't have the report, then the depositions that you give and that the other party gives about what happened is going to determine how your claim is handled. For example, let's say that you do not get the police. So you're insured with ABC Company, the other person is insured with XYZ Company. Both companies are going to go ahead and call you and get your idea of how the accident happened. Now, once they find out how the accident has happened, those two insurance companies get together and they make the decision as to who was at fault. So you can sit there and say, "It wasn't my fault. wasn't my fault, but if those two companies decide that it was your fault, then you're gonna have to pay your deductible when you go to get your car fixed. So, if you can get a police report, that will help determine as to whose fault the accident was. It does not mean that if the police report says it was the other person's fault, that the insurance companies agree with that. I think that's a very big common mistake, and we've had that happen a couple of times at our agency, where the police report said that our insured was at fault, but the fact of the matter is when we got together with the other insurance company, they determined that the other party was at fault. So there was no deductible on our part that had to be paid. So that's extremely important. It's the second thing you want to do. What would be the next thing you'd want to do? Anybody? Mark?
Take down license plates.
Take down the information. By golly, you have to get the information. Now, some people are going to give you bogus information. Some people are going to give you a phony name. They're going to give you all kinds of stuff. So the best thing to do is to write down the license plate. And if you have a little bit of knowledge of automobiles, the year, make, and model of the car that hit you or that you hit. So in this particular scenario, what you would want to do is that person that hit you from behind, you want to get all their information. And you want to find out if they're insured. Whoa. What if they weren't insured and they were to be determined to be at fault? Anybody have any answers as to what happens now?
Uninsured motorists?
Exactly. But not everybody has that, Jim. When you have your insurance policy and you have an old car, for example, and you decide the car is only worth $500 to $1,000, so there's no need to have a deductible, comp and collision on the car, and you only get liability, then what happens if you get hit from behind, as my scenario went, you're not going to get your car repaired because you did not have uninsured motorists. Uninsured motorist means that if you're not at fault, and you get hit by someone who does not have insurance, but you have uninsured motorists, that means that your car is going to get repaired at no cost to you. And the repair will only be up to the actual cash value of your car. So the most important things that we have to remember here in the event of an accident, the very first thing, believe it or not, is to be as calm as possible. Find out if there are injuries. If there are injuries, not only call the police, get an ambulance. Second thing is get all the information that you can, and I mean everything. If you can get this person's date of birth and his mother's and grandmother's name, get it. And the other most important thing is, at that point, if you can find witnesses, go out and get them. If you see people on the sidewalk that are eyeballing what happened, go next to them and say, hey, what's your name? Could you tell me what you saw? And you would get that written down. Do you mind if you give me your phone number? So I think most people in that case will help you. And the reason being is because they just saw something and they know that you're not trying to scam them. So, if you've never been in an accident, or if you've been in an accident and made a mistake, you now have the information, hopefully, to do and what to know the next time it happens. Madam Coach.